Hello, guys. Hello, my dear friends. Happy Sunday. Let me know if you can hear me well. Greetings to all of your beautiful oblasts. Greetings to my friends Shabona Lake Oblast. Thank you so much for coming today for our live. We have slightly different schedule, but all because of this really good meeting that we had yesterday on Jake's channel. Thank you for the confirmation that you can hear me and see me well. Still, you remember that from time to time we have troubles with electricity. So if something like that happens, please remember it is because of non-perfect environment and some Russian interference in daily Ukrainian life. Greetings to Birmingham. And today we are in our beautiful community with fantastic moderators, Martin, Rudy, Spencer. I don't know if he's joining us, but he is with us, and also many, many good people. Thank you so much for coming this Sunday. Greetings to Ontario. Greetings to New York Oblast, to Manchester, to Switzerland. Привет to North Carolina, Miami, so many beautiful places, Amsterdam, Denmark. When I'm reading the names of your places, of your oblasts, Yorkshire, and New Zealand, it is always such an honor to know that people from so many different places have come and joined and are my friends. So thank you so much for coming. Today we also have a holiday in Ukraine. That is Trinity. I know you celebrated it earlier because you had a really early Easter, those who observe Christianity, and we have it today. It's pretty late. And it also coincides in time with old Slavic holidays, which were known as the green holidays, when people decorate their houses with flowers, with leaves. And greetings to Sweden. Hello, Iman and Carl, and so many beautiful people, and Pat. And greetings to Wisconsin. If you have some problems, do refresh. This is what Rudy advises us, but hopefully we will not have any problems. Thank you so much for buying me coffees. You make me feel more responsible, and I started writing book in a better pace. And I can officially say that perhaps I have already crossed the equator. I have finished my geography part really quickly, and it's really difficult with history because, as you might have guessed, greetings to Hungary and Norway, as you might have guessed, Ukrainian history is complex, and I understand that you don't need all of that. Hello, Francois, to your beautiful French Alps. We would love to have a stream somewhere close to you. Greetings to Germany. So now I'm in the middle of the 20th century, which means it is the end of the modern history, but many things need explanation. And also I'm trying to find this balance, Вітання в Бельгію, so making it interesting, but at the same time understandable. Thank you so much, Ken. So you definitely inspire me to do more because you ask me questions, you buy coffees, you become patrons, and you kind of invest in my development and evolution, and I feel the responsibility to do so. So thank you so much. Greetings to the Netherlands. The Netherlands, please tell us, how will we feel with the new head of NATO, Rutte? Will he support Ukraine? The way we pray for, but I do know that he was a strong voice to give Ukraine F-16s, and hopefully this will continue and negotiation skills will be needed. But of course, we are very attentive. to what is happening. Greetings to Sydney and to the United Kingdom and all England and London Oblast. London is the capital of Great Britain. You know, there is such a very typical joke in Ukraine. Well, like starting from my generation, more and more people speak English, but previous generations they had more troubles where to learning. Greetings to Romania and Montreal, and actually, not many people managed to master English at school. And a very typical kind of language education at schools was learning topics. We literally called them topics. I also had that when you are given a text on a particular topic and you learn it by heart. And then you retell it on your English class. Of course, it does not help much in your communicative speech development, like free speech. By the way, let me know in the comments below, are there any similar exercises when you learned language at your schools? And it was really typical, like you will learn it by heart. And it was, yeah, I don't know. The football championship is a very nervous time, even for Ukrainians, even in times of war. So anyway, you will have like, I don't know, my favorite author, Ukraine, my hobby, and you will learn these topics by heart. And it was like teachers explained to us that by learning by heart, you get used to typical language structures and so on. Yeah, I'm speaking about this role of the World War II, but once again, I'm not making it a history book purely, but I keep all the important messages. So, and we were learning these topics by heart. And one of the most popular topics was definitely about Great Britain, like because you learn the language of Great Britain. I'm sorry, guys, I know many countries also speak it and have variations, but yeah, we have this type of drill. Exactly. So every topic about Great Britain would start with a sentence like, London is the capital of Great Britain. And many people, everything they remember from their language classes, English classes at school, actually ends with this sentence. So very often when you ask someone in Ukraine who is not like, who does not speak English well, and you will ask person, do you speak English? And they may say, London is the capital of Great Britain. That means like that's the end. Thank you so much, Scott, and Martin is right. Thank you for all the support, and thank you for all beautiful people, Michael, Francois, and many people who encourage communication and likes, and and Dart, and so many good people. I'm blessed to have you. And there are many topics that we can discuss. I hope you have watched my interviews. Yesterday, we have a very beautiful roundtable on the channel of Jake Pro. He starts these important conversations among people who support Ukraine, who understand the importance of this war for the future of the world. So I was blessed to be there. If you haven't, to check this conversation. And also, I am glad to be a guest often on Silicon Curtain channel, and it seems like this week I had lots of interviews. You can check it out because sometimes Sweden, hello, and London is the capital of Great Britain, yeah, of England. Okay, yeah, but in my topic, oh my God, you see, that was a geopolitical mistake. I don't know what about the mic, but it seems that the majority can hear me. Okay, can you hear me well? Because and greetings to Ireland. I definitely want to come back to Ireland. So there was a number of questions that was asked, and yesterday I was answering them, but also I have some observations. I don't have a super chat. It's not available in Ukraine, and I don't want to trick people saying that I'm elsewhere. But you can become sponsors, patrons, buy me a coffee, or whatever you prefer. So anyway, there are some observations that I have noticed. Like, number one, for example, recently, like yesterday in the morning, my city was targeted. We had explosions, we had air defense working, Shahed drones were flying. Like they sound like a tractor in the skies. And actually, I have this feeling is like really bad. I see that the majority of people say that sound is good on their side, so maybe you can refresh and check it, because sometimes it's a YouTube. It's not always me. Glory to Ukraine. So I'm sorry, but just like my mic is built in, so nothing changed. It may be due to internet connection, but I have no influence on that. So anyway, I've told you this joke. I don't know if you have watched my video, but I was sleeping with my window open and hearing this. I felt like maybe F-16s are coming. In reality, it's different. But what I have noticed when I share it with some people, people stopped asking, "How are you?" And people stop feeling like worried about such things happening. And I don't blame the people, but it seems like it is already normal. Even for those people who support Ukraine, it's not a big deal anymore. And when you look at what is happening, greetings to Denmark, on a daily basis in Kharkiv, in Sumy, how dangerous it is in Kyiv, and literally in every part of Ukraine, my one very great message would be, please do not feel it's okay. It's not okay. And if you learn that like a person had an attack in the morning, even if it was like a light one and no one got killed, it's not okay. I don't want you to ever imagine that in your life, in your cities, but I'm sure you clearly can understand that. Hello, guys, and thank you so much for joining. And it's a pleasure that so many of you have come. You may ask me questions, and I will be happy to answer these questions. And okay, I see that you are repeating this question. I've received this question as an email that I have read. You remember that I receive a lot of emails, and not all of them I can physically answer. But there was an important question that I think we should discuss. This was about the stolen children. And the question was that the numbers are different because Russia claims it has saved 700 Ukrainian children, 700,000 Ukrainian children, and Ukraine says that 25,000 are missing. There is one thing that you have to understand. Ukraine reports the children that went missing after the start of invasion, that were either taken away from the orphanages or were separated from their families. When Russia says that it has liberated 700,000 children, it means all the children on the territories that it occupied, because by its occupation, Russia treats it as liberation. We all see what their liberation looks like. In Mariupol, for example, but this is what they claim. So they say this number because they believe that everyone who is on the annexed territory is saved from this rotten West that we represent together with you. And also there was a question about, in that very same person, about the person that was involved with the support of children on the side, like she was Ukrainian, then switched to a Russian side. I had to Google this person, which will tell you that she is not in the center of Ukrainian attention at all. She was active before the start of war, and she actually died in an air crash in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, long before the start of the full-scale invasion. I think she was trying to demonstrate this kind of this kind of Red Cross approach, like I'm apolitical, I'm not interfering, but it's run in this kind of wars when it's really obvious who is the aggressor, who is the victim, who commits war crimes. So there is nothing specific, nothing more that I can tell you. Once again, what is very problematic is that, first of all, not only the children that Russia steals or separates from their families, it also switches to this very military education, first inside Russia and also on temporarily occupied Ukrainian territories. I'm sure you have seen a lot of really awful videos from Russia when they dress up children in military clothes, when they involve them in parades, they put them in tanks. They also have drone building classes and so on, and they militarize children since the first form, and they try to bring them up in hatred against all the world, not just like Nail and Scott. Thank you so much for cheering up the likes, and do like the video if you like it. Thank you so much, Nail. Thank you, Scott. Greetings to Norway. I want to visit your beautiful country. Every time I write a grant application, I always include a visit to Norway. I'm sorry. Thank you so much, and happy that you have joined the live stream, and thank you for asking how I am. Thank you, Jake. Hello, Jake. I was just speaking about this wonderful experience that we had yesterday on your channel. And United 24 also shared, this is our Ukrainian channel, also shared the conversation. And I see that my community is super happy that you have joined us. And maybe then I will answer a question that is close to what Jake has just did. He broke the world record with his NEFO campaign, more than 1,100,000 to support Ukraine. And this is amazing because Jake is a strong voice, but now this is also a strong army of Jakes already arriving to the front lines. And I do like it that they start introducing more drones and trucks. And personally, my campaign, the last one was 50-50. 50% of it was on the trucks, and 50 was on drones. And I could not understand why I was so inspired to fundraise for drones. And then I've realized because they are weapons. So I'm sorry. I am not that I'm not that good. I'm not that kind, but we all know that Russians always have an option. They can stay within their own borders, and believe me, there are enough things they can fight for inside Russia, and actually should. So yeah, this is a drone war to some extent, but people are needed, and you know that Ukraine is losing the best and Russia is losing the worst. But of course, a lot of things changed, and I think that the next campaigns will dedicate more to drones. And I actually have one idea that maybe in future we will try and make real with NEFO. Moreover, there are some beautiful parts of Ukrainian history that can actually be connected to the drones. Coming back to a very important question about Ukrainian children, I would like to mention one story that I have come across previously, but I have also decided to include it into the book that I'm finally working on. But it was about a Ukrainian child reaching to his classmates. He was stolen by Russians and his identity was changed. That's the way they actually adopt children. They give them different names. They may even claim a different birthplace, and they forbid using social media. Plus, you know, lots of platforms are actually not that simple to reach from Russia. And he was sending messages to his classmates, asking not to forget him, who he was, with his name, so that if one day he will be able to return back home, they would recognize him, even if he has a different name. and a different passport telling a different story. And I think it's like only one of these stories can persuade why you should, why we all should defeat Russia. So, welcome everyone who is joining. You're never late, and we are just starting. And so, anyway, I hope I have answered this question. It is very important. Once again, YouTube algorithms are not very supportive to the question of abducted children, stolen children, but still. There were questions, do I have a shelter nearby? I do. Do I go there? No. Well, once again, because I live in a semi-safe zone, but I can tell you, if you're interested in more like real life stories, not political content today. I will say that, for example, when I was in Kiev, like last week, it was a week of lots of air raid alerts. And during this air raid alerts, for example, malls, they close the doors, but the majority of them do not have shelters nearby. They may not have a parking because typically parking is around the trade center. It's not underneath the trade center. And many of them are somewhere on the suburbs, maybe near industrial objects and so on. What happens during this air raid alert? Everyone goes out from the mall and sits around this mall on chairs, shop assistants, and people are waiting for the end of the air raid alert. Many can actually follow the update saying, oh, they are shooting down the drone, but like 5 metro stations away from here. And there were like 2 or 3 air raid alerts that I had to wait for, and I was waiting together with these people. It's insane, but when you have like 2.5 years of war, then we went inside, and there was an electricity shortage. So I did not buy anything in Zara. But this is an example of what happens. Plus, once again, you realize it happens at, for example, in my city, it is at 4 a.m. in the morning. And another thing that we have to say, many of these shelters are not ideal shelters. You know that in times of the Cold War, many buildings were built like that, but they either belong to parties or city council or some plants and factories. But if you look at an apartment building, like you do not have enough shelters in buildings, and it's kind of understandable. It's kind of distracting. This is just like what is happening. But let's get back perhaps to our topic, and then from time to time I will return to some troll questions that I may receive sometime. By the way, I have a question to you. My friends in Kharkiv are okay, but yesterday I was devastated to see these photos. You know, like how it works. I have shared that on Instagram. You may join me on Instagram if you're not yet following me there, because sometimes YouTube will not allow that, and I kind of need to say that. Because I value my YouTube platform and I don't violate the policies, I need to be able to continue. And on Instagram, I may share something. I'm not in support of Telegram. I have it like personally, but I never invite you to Telegram. You remember, no Telegram, no WhatsApp. I'm never asking for money, and you never win Snickers or laptops with me. I'm not a lottery. Greetings to Finland. And so anyway, I have lost a thought. Thank you so much, Nameless, for buying the sponsorship and the support of the channel. This is extremely important. Thank you for buying me coffees and becoming sponsors. Uh, what protective gear can a person have during an air raid? I don't quite understand the question, because if it is an air raid and if it is a 500-kilogram bomb, what kind of gear can help you? Nothing. And I like, if you mean bulletproof vest, they don't save you from anything. But like, I mean, in a case of explosion from some debris, but these are on the front lines, so I don't sleep in a bulletproof. Like, once again, luckily I live, I cannot say luckily, but I live in a semi-safe zone. Greetings to Sao Paulo, and we rarely experience explosions here, but still it is possible. It is possible anywhere in Ukraine, and with Putin continuing his power and uniting with other dictators, it can actually be experienced everywhere in the world. And I have a question to you. Why do you think, in reality, Putin went to North Korea? What was the reason for his visit for his meeting with Kim Jong Un? How do you think? It's interesting. I would like to read some of your opinions and thoughts. Just let me know. Thank you so much, William, for buying me coffees. I have just noticed. Thank you. And thank you, Richard. That's great. And so, any words that to spark a conflict, Wayne? Short Putin has got short friends. No, not all short people are bad. He wants weapons, desperation. He wanted to scare us, but looked like a fool. But he always looks like a fool. I'm not in Dagestan at the moment. There is something happening, but we don't know yet. Some shootings next to the churches, next to the synagogue. I don't know. Nothing else. I don't think they want to destroy Putin at the moment. Kim Jong ordered his visit. Greetings to Salem. Is that the Salem? Shells, missiles, maybe soldiers. Putin does not have any friends. I don't think they are even friends with Kim. I'm not sure that like people like that can be friends, actually. But actually, Robert states that things are hotting up between North Korea and South Korea, which could be the next flashpoint. And I actually think that this was the reason why Putin went to North Korea. He actually, first of all, it's obvious that Kim is ready to give him, Putin and Russians, a lot of ammunition. Just an example, at the last year, our partners in the EU promised Ukraine 1 million artillery shells. But at the end of that year, they said, like, yeah, we failed to achieve this number. The number is good, but in general, it's not 1 million. And North Korea supplied, and North Korea is not the only supplier, supplied Russia, which already has more artillery shells than we ever had since the times of, thank you so much. I don't know how to read correct your name. Putin might have gone there because Iran's sources might be drying. Yeah. Super chat is not an option in Ukraine. It's not open for Ukraine. Many things are not open for Ukraine. So, actually, it's obvious that, and this year, North Korea supplied Russia with 5 million artillery supplies. Of course, evil Russian vloggers, military bloggers, they say that these artillery shells are of a really low quality, but still, like, if you have, like, every second is bad, but still you will have 2.5 million. And this authoritarian regimes, they are extremely cooperative. Perhaps they understand they need to support each other. And greetings to Tampere. So I don't think that Putin is asking for ammunition, because for North Korea, this is the only kind of export they can have. This is a real inspiration for them. They need it. So they will send, even if Putin does not ask them. And I think they were discussing these provocations or a new war between Koreas. And beautiful people with whom we have spoken yesterday on Jake's channel, Jake Bro's channel, in their videos. It seems to me Vlad was talking about that, and Jake saying that actually Putin, and here in Ukraine, some bloggers talk about that Putin tries to convince Kim that he can actually try and test South Korea, and that he will back him up because, once again, with his nuclear arsenal, Kim is not dangerous to the US, but together with Russia, well, that may be a change. Thank you so much for the sponsorship to the channel. That's really important, and I'm grateful. So here we see this kind of conflict coming closer because we see North Korean soldiers entering the neutral zone, provoking South Korea soldiers twice this month, something that never happened before, and just before the start of the Putin's visit. And also the change that they have made in the legislation. This is what I've heard from one top Ukrainian political observer. In North Korea documents like legislation or something, they had a norm according to which they could not attack South Korea because they treated South Korea as one nation, and that like South Koreans are just deceived by West as Ukraine, like rotten West deceived South Koreans, but one day they will unite with people of North Korea, and the doctrine stated that they are one people. But Kim, unlike his grandfather and his father, rewrote this law, and now he says they are two separate peoples, which mean he can actually attack South Korea. And the task of Putin is to cause more and more chaos around the world. We see that it is growing, and one of the most important conclusions that I can tell you, and I hope you will not consider that an exaggeration from a Ukrainian, is the fact that Putin, Kim, Iran, they have already started the world war. The fact that you do not name it that way, or just like you do not participate in it, it does not mean that they don't consider it that way. They plan this world war and they actually do everything to achieve it. And this visit was to discuss it, not to ask for ammunition. Of course, I would like it to be just like Putin asking for more ammunition. But once again, it's obvious that it's not about asking, because Kim himself is interested in supplying more. So there are lots of places where they want to spark conflicts, to distract attention, to cause trouble, money, and so on. And this is so obvious that the best thing we can do whenever someone breaks international laws is simply punish and stop it at the very start. Because more and more happens if it is not punished. And that's what we have experienced with the annexation of Crimea. And I know, I don't know if you have it in your languages, but in Ukrainian language and in Ukrainian tradition, it's very common for mothers to say, but I've told you, but I've warned you. And when you're a teenager and they tell you take a scarf and you don't, and then you catch a cold, and then my mom loved saying that. I would always quarrel with her because why are you saying that? It will not change anything. I already have my cold, but it's true. And I do feel it. And like many Ukrainians, like all of us, we have this feeling that, guys, it's not just about they don't like us. They disrespect all the rules until these rules were protected and borders were respected. Many more countries felt safer, and in South America and in Africa and anywhere. And by demonstrating disrespect to the borders, by showing that Putin can attack any country he wants and change the borders he wants, It's absurd. And his crazy idea, like, give me the regions that I did not manage to occupy, but I'm asking that. I told you so. Yeah, so that's exactly. Thank you, Michael. And by the way, on Discord, we have a beautiful test. I feel so honored. Michael worked hard, and now we have a test on Discord about my interviews. Thank you so much. You can actually, it would be really interesting to see who participates and who's able to answer all the questions. If you're not yet on Discord, remember to join it. And it's kind of very sad that it's so obvious, it's on the surface, but dictators still manage to manipulate. And sometimes I feel sorry that many people like talking, analyzing, and I do a lot of talking myself. But at this moment, talking and discussion and threats and I don't know, express of your, like this United Nations, they like to express that they are worried. It doesn't work. People die in Ukraine on a daily basis, but this is the start of the world war. It is already the world war. It's not about like a minor thing, like someone wants to get access to the sea just for one boat. It would be at least logical. But here we have, yesterday Jake asked me a question and I perhaps did not answer it to the fullest. It was about a quiz, not a test, maybe, or a quiz, but in Ukrainian it's a test. So anyway, it was a question about NATO, and like Russia always claims that it was NATO who provoked its invasion of Ukraine because, and I was talking more about like there is no NATO, no, but there are some things that I would like to, I would like, no, I would like to answer. Well, first of all, NATO has never really wanted Ukraine so far. And sometimes I feel like even offended. There were chances, especially in 2008, it could have changed a lot. And it has changed a lot, and it didn't. And whenever NATO leaders are asked about Ukraine, you clearly see that the message is no, not now, not yet, we will never know, and so on. Then, when Russia invaded Ukraine, Ukraine was neutral. What is the reason why Putin doesn't want Ukraine to be in NATO? Because this way it will be impossible for him to get Ukraine. So the only reason why he doesn't want Ukraine to be in NATO, because then it will be difficult for him to get Ukraine. It's obvious. With his crazy invasion, he actually helped Finland and Sweden join the NATO, and his border with NATO countries became much longer. But his claims that he's ready to cease fire or even to give peace to Ukraine if we give up our regions. Plus, like literally, apart from Donetsk and Luhansk, he wants Kherson and Zaporizhia. And literally, Russians, after like almost 3 years of war, have tiny bits of these regions, and they want all. Not being able to get them. I don't know how crazy you can be. Why do they think? It just like it's crazy, and unfortunately, there are newspapers, there are countries where they say, you see, Russia wants peace, and these Ukrainians, they want to continue war. And we spoke about that on Silicon Curtain, that it seems to me Reuters had a headline about like Putin agrees to cease fire if Zelensky retreats from the occupied regions or something. And it sounds from this headline like it is Ukraine who occupied the region. And if Ukraine leaves the regions it occupied, it's Ukrainian. It's Ukrainian regions, internationally recognized. And I know it was not intentional, but sometimes the journalists, they don't take this level of responsibility they should when speaking about war. It's just like about health issues. I'm sure you remember that in times of COVID, for example, many of the articles, they had to be verified or they would be banned. And here, depicting something as like, if Ukraine leaves occupied, these are Ukrainian regions invaded by Russia against all the international agreements, charters, and so on, killing hundreds and thousands of Ukrainians. Also, there is a question that I wanted to answer. I often get it from trolls. Maybe, I don't know, like, maybe it's not a troll question sometimes, but I have many questions about when will I join the Ukrainian armed forces? And I will disappoint you at this moment. I don't have any intention to join Ukrainian military forces as a sniper or a soldier or I don't know what infantry member. And no, I don't have pains of consciousness at this moment because Ukrainian army does not ask for women to join the troops. I know, and I'm proud that there are many women in Ukrainian armed forces, but this is their choice and sometimes their professional choice even before the start of the war or in the process. These are brave and cool women, but I don't feel this obligation, and by asking me this question, no, you don't make me feel stressed. I do think that Ukrainian men, and I'm sorry, I have this, I feel the difference between men and women. I know, like, I'm quite emancipated, but I was interested in this question. I was thinking, I was making up my opinion. And one of the most important messages that I have read is in a Ukrainian newspaper that was entitled, Why Ukraine Does Not Mobilize Women. Have you, like, it was an important question for me. And I was interested to read this article. And do you know what is the answer? Why Ukrainian army does not mobilize women? Because Ukrainian army at this moment does not, I cannot say want, this won't be very polite. And this will be because the main need of Ukrainian army now is in infantry. And the majority, that's like some men, why they are afraid, because this is infantry. They are not looking that much for many positions, but the best infantry are people who need specific physical preparation and they have to be capable of carrying lots of things, walking with 20 kilos of ammunition and so on. And unfortunately, some women who choose this may cause trouble to the people with whom they serve, because this is not just like a military preparation or a military training course, which I think everyone should take. But this real war service is different from the things that you watch in the movies. I have spoken a lot with Ukrainian women who are in the army. All of them volunteered. And of course, someone who are now mobilized feel complex about that. Because I know I have a lot of adult people, and there are different, like there is a physiological difference between a man and a woman. And at this moment, the main and the most important positions are the one that demand some physical things. And women are not the best. and Ukrainian armed forces do not order women. If they need it, they would have. And then it would be an important decision, and of course, I would join. Trying, of course, to find where am the best, where I can be most useful. But at this moment, no one is asking me in Ukraine, and I don't feel this is my responsibility. I am very proud of not 20,000, there are like 30,000 of Ukrainian women in the armed forces, but on the front lines, it's close to 5,000. You have to realize that many are serving on different positions. And that's it. And I know this question is asked by people very often, like, if you're asking it because it's interesting, that's totally okay. But if it is a trolling question, it does not make me feel worried, because I feel completely useful at this moment. I feel that I have my duty and my obligation, and my country is not waiting for me in the trenches. My country is satisfied with what I'm doing, and actually, I think there is not enough people like me. Because one very sad observation, when I look at people who speak about war in Ukraine, I don't have many Ukrainians first, and many Ukrainians who speak for Ukraine are outside Ukraine. And sometimes I have this very weird feeling that, like, soon I will be the only one left in Ukraine. But so this is my answer. I am immensely proud by women who are in the Ukrainian armed forces, but still, this is not a huge majority in Ukraine. And the most important thing, there is no, how do you say it, supply and demand. There is no demand for women from the side of Ukrainian armed forces. I know we may start some very important things, saying like this equal rights and so on, but I was talking to girls who are actually real soldiers fighting like tank commander crews and things like that. And they were saying that it's very difficult to, for example, what was the most difficult things? They were saying, complaining about physical things, only physical things, because like psychologically, mentally, women are really quick and they sometimes make better decisions and multitaskers and so on. But then if you have to carry 20 kilos, there is something you cannot change about you, a female body. Like, men can carry these kilos a little bit better. Thank you, Bruce. There are other physiological moments that I won't mention, and sometimes when they literally cannot leave a trench for a week, that's problematic, and their crew don't want a woman to be with them. So there are lots and lots of things. And what happens, yeah, Michael, you're actually right. And we have one program working on that with my NGO. That might be also a contribution, by the way. I see that I cannot, many people are saying that people know how to advertise themselves, and I don't feel comfortable boasting or something. But many women in Ukraine are now managing positions, businesses, and so on. And they say that for the next decade, it will be very likely that women will take over lots of things. And actually, many businesses have already started training women for very different positions, starting from a tractor driver, because lots of tractor drivers went to become tanker. And tank drivers, for example. And thank you so much, Pat. And time to have a sip. So just like changing this and substituting women, for example, there are lots of women taxi drivers and so on. Another thing that I have to tell you, and I know you give me lots of support and really good words, and I'm very grateful for that. But one thing that I have to mention, I realize that I am not on the front lines, and I never am. And if you have noticed, I never name myself a soldier or a fighter. You may say it, but I never accept it, because I see a huge difference, and I hate it. There are lots of people who want to avoid mobilization when asked and so on, and they start saying, I am on the front lines, but these are economic front lines or a cultural front or something like that. For me, honestly, it is BS. It's not frontline. I would never compare my vlogging, which can be very difficult, emotionally exhausting. Sometimes you are very tired and so on. But thank you so much, Eric, for buying me coffees. But at the same time, it is like when a person is in a trench, not able to have a shower for a month, and this is a person who loves shower, who has a family. When a person is not able to return home because now he is packing up 3 bushes, it happens sometimes that you literally have to protect bushes, and you can be killed, and you've experienced death and wounds and so on. This is what frontlines is. And all that we do, it's not frontlines, it's a really good rear. And I don't know why people hate using this. It is our task to help the life continue. And I'm very grateful to people who remain in Kharkiv. You know what is the task of Russians when they shell Kharkiv, for example? They want more people to leave it because then the city is dying and then it's easier to smash it and get it. It is their task. They actually wanted all of the Ukrainians to escape from Ukraine. And I have my own feeling what are our responsibilities. And I feel like it's extremely important to remain in Ukraine. And once again, for example, not all will support me, and I know I have many people who speak about people whom you have supported in your cities, in your countries. I believe those regions that are front lines or close to front lines, like Kharkiv, Kherson, Sumy, Zaporizhia, Donetsk, Luhansk, Crimea, sometimes it was even Kyiv. People who have left these regions, that's totally understandable. People who have left my region, I treat them as traitors in my personal life. If I have people who escaped from my city, I know such. I've lost a number of such friends because I think it's a wrong decision. They could stay here, work here. I know there are different moral aspects. We may discuss it from different perspectives, and we will find the truth in that decision. But that's how I feel. And I think that it is one of the problems of the modern world that we try to be super neutral about everything. I think your chances of being killed at this moment in Lutsk are not that high, but your chances to support Ukrainian economy, to continue normal living, to make your children learn in your own school, and to make life here real are very important. It's very different from, once again, it is not applied to people who left the regions that are under constant shelling, and that's I understand they are really saving their lives. Thank you so much, Peter. That's an honor to have you in our community, and your support means a lot. So thank you so much for for a medal, and so thank you so much for everything that you are saying and for all of your support. So once again, thank you so much, Pavel. And it's not I know informational war is real and we are fighting, but that's different. That's very different from the front lines. Thank you for calling me an ambassador. I always feel very honored, and I actually think that diplomacy is extremely, extremely important. And by the way, I'm very grateful to those Ukrainian people who are being abroad, supporting Ukrainian cause and trying to attract attention. And this is very important. Thank you so much, Paul, for joining. Spencer, welcome back. And we are happy to be in our community. So thank you so much. And honestly, sometimes I feel like people need to be more real. And you're not late, you're on time, but please like the video. Neil reminds us about that. And thank you so much, Delicia. Once again, if I'm making a mistake, I'm sorry, but I have all of your names and I love our community. And thank you, Michael. And Michael is inviting everyone to take a quiz. Yeah, we need 1,000 likes. Neil insists, and I insist. Okay. I feel like some things, sometimes I get tired with vlogging too. I'm not always feeling well. Sometimes you can have, I don't know, like COVID. I remember myself, like in Czechia, my visit, I was like, I caught the virus and I was literally, I had to go back and I was very weak. And I remember recording a video and like, I'm sorry, sweating because I had very high temperature and you cannot find the light. You cannot, and you feel like, oh my God, I want to die and I have to record a video. And I was talking like with my colleague, the one who helps me with thumbnails. He's, by the way, in Kharkiv now. And I was saying like, oh my God, maybe we can skip a day and I will like, and he told me one sentence that actually changed a lot. He said like, can you imagine what people do every day on the front lines during this war? We are all carrying our like crosses. There is a saying in Ukraine, you have to carry a cross, like just like Jesus did. Incomparable, but I mean, and it was just like, and when you realize what people go through, you do understand that it's not a problem. You're sitting in a warm hotel in Prague, like you can have your tea, you will get better tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. So grab yourself and record the video. And I feel like that's important. And I value our community a lot, and I know you did a million things to support Ukraine. And I feel that is not enough Ukrainian voices, honestly, because one thing is to talk about geopolitics and other stuff, and it's all very, very, very important. But I feel not enough like things about Ukraine, because important things are now here. And what people feel it's important to make a correct decision. Thank you so much, Plant Lord. And yeah, football, soccer is a very strong thing in Ukraine. Ukrainians are not very tolerant to the teams when we are losing. And that's why they are like very emotional. I remember the very first game, everyone was very like angry. But I'm sure that will change. Plus, our main victory is not on the football field, but now on the battlefield. And so these are so many moral things, so many responsibilities, but at the same time, I like this book that I'm writing. It's not that simple, and it's not. Thank you so much, John. It's not that much simple, and sometimes I feel like, why am I doing it? Because it literally takes a lot of time in your day, and you may not do it. It's just like my choice, and you have to be very like responsible and motivated to do the things that you are not obliged to do. It's like summer, you can do something else, but this is when I realize my responsibility, and I do believe I can make it, because I feel once again lack of normal information. And I realize that even if you want something and you will look for something and you cannot find it, many things. Sometimes I'm looking something that I know and I want to connect it and give it to you as a good fact or something, and it's literally so difficult to find. So I think we do need this like history management here inside Ukraine. That's actually the heritage of Soviet Union. Many things were distorted. You are taught at school, but there are not that many like simple things. I did have like I'm not totally amateur. I co-authored a number of history and cuisine and cultural heritage articles, and also part of the book. So I'm working on that. And yeah, I keep myself motivated. I feel that's my responsibility. Plus, I love writing, and it's like telling the story. The intention of this book is to be a conversation with friends, something similar that you have after a good Sunday dinner. That's how I try to keep it. I write it in English because if I will write it in Ukrainian, it will be more Ukrainian people oriented, and I want it to be more international because there are lots of things that we know and you don't, and that's okay. But there are also things that need explanation for you and they don't need for Ukraine. And some things may seem too obvious, like I don't need to introduce Ukrainians to, like, I don't know, Ukrainian geography. They had that at school. So I'm writing it in English to make it like already in that way. So as Jake says it, we have crossed 1 hour mark. Oh, but I like in his videos one phrase, let's get back to good news for Ukraine. That's what I like. Saludos desde Ucrania. Thank you so much. Conversations with friends. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel it. And I try to keep it. You have given me a lot of good advice, and I'm trying to keep it personal. And I try not to overload you with things, because I put myself as a reader, imagining myself that I'm like reading a book about Iceland, let's say, or New Zealand. And there are things that I want to know. And of course, there are details that are not necessary for a person who gets to know the country. So I'm turning on my teacher's mode, and I also like, when I'm imagining what I'm going to say, I sometimes think that, what is it? Like a history book, a geography book, a war book. I sometimes feel like it's a love story book. It's a love story of me and my country. So we have 1,000 likes. Thank you so much. And Meredith, yeah, I see all of you, but sometimes chat moves too quickly. But anyway, so maybe a couple of questions. And I will let you enjoy Sunday evening, because tomorrow is Monday. Thank you so much, Lisa. This is so sweet. Thank you for watching, and greetings to Scotland. Beautiful. In those topics, if you have watched the start of our video, I have learned that, like, when traveling in Scotland, you have to try whiskey, Scotch, and smoked salmon. That's what they teach in Ukrainian classes. And when you feel like hungry, thank you so much, Gary. Sometimes you may feel hungry at school. So thank you so much. And Monday morning, yeah. Oh, Monday morning already in New Zealand. Oh my God, how far away we are, but at the same time, how close we are. Oh, there are lots of things you should try in Ukraine. I will put that in my book, because I do have a plan on this, like things to try, things to visit, things to experience. But like, I have to know what you like, because we have to respect that too. Smoked salmon, like, no, I did not have a tiara yet, but I think it would suit me. Thank you so much, Iman. Well, like Kherson, the city is okay, but what you have to realize, does it mean okay? It is. Thank you so much, Tony, and Run Forest. Greetings to you. Thank you for the support. So, do I know any publishers to use? No, I don't. And if you can give me some advice, I would like it not to be like a Ukrainian publisher, because once again, it's not intended on the internal market. Maybe we will use it later, but I would like to start with something foreign. Vareniki Nail says, so Kherson now often shelled. but we managed to keep the part of the left bank, which is very important, and Russians did everything to take people out of that. But what is also important, first I have to write the book before giving the autographs, so I have to be responsible and persistent, and you have to control me, guys. Please do. For example, Kherson, it's liberated, and many people returned back to Kherson, and they are happy. But you have to realize that because of these constant shellings, because of the troubles that Russia causes, it had 4,000, 300,000 population in 2022, and now it is 40,000, 10 times less. This is what Russia does. And this is kind of sad. I don't have a favorite song. It's so difficult, but I actually thought it would be a nice idea if, for example, once a week I would leave in the comments a Ukrainian song that is popular in Ukraine. Let me know, would you like this? Because I think it would be not bad. Yeah, thank you so much. So maybe some more questions. And okay, thank you for the support. Oh, this is great that someone had AJ. Oh, plan for a novel, self-published. That's good. Let me know in the comments if I can read you. Why do you think that I cook borscht that well? I don't think that Putin is religious. I think Putin is a devil. Of course he's not. How can you think he's religious? Killing people, liking that. And if you look you can check a video. I typically do not speak about private life, but have a look at Putin's lovers. We have a video on that. Russian paradox. He has a lot, and he hides information about that, and his children and so on. I think coffee is more popular in Ukraine, but I like both. Many people like both. So thank you so much for buying me coffees, becoming patrons and sponsors of the channel. We have a good Instagram. We have, Michael, thank you. I have an Instagram. You can join me there. The description is, the links are in the description. Also Discord, and lots of interesting things happening there. Thank you so much, Marco. Also X and Threads. Typically when I'm emotional, I express myself in Twitter and X. And merch shop. Yeah, now we have a collection with flags. I know many of you liked it. If your country is not there, thank you so much, Martin. It's not because I don't love it, but we have simply looked at the top countries, but let me know, and more flags may be added. But anyway, even if I have Telegram, but it's public. It's not public, and I never invite people, and I do not trust it 100%. We have it because many of messages about the air raid alerts are really simple there, and some information can be shared there easier than, for example, WhatsApp may block it. But I do not invite people there, and please always be careful of the scammers that's from time to time appear on the channel. And we have more than 1,000 likes, and I have to thank a million times Martin, Rudy, Spencer, Michael, Francois, Neil, Iman, and many millions of good people who have spent this time with us. And yeah, I did try Signal Messenger, but once again, I do not accept some friendships, for example, in my Ukrainian Facebook, because it was just for my Ukrainian communication, and I make only Ukrainian posts. So that's why. Thank you so much, Jake. And thank you for your continued support. So always leave me comments. What would you like to see next on the channel? And today there will be a video, our weekly summary on the events, and there I give more analysis about the failure of Russia's offensive on Kharkiv, a bit of fun on Putin's trip to North Korea, and also attacks on Kharkiv. But destructions of Russian oil refineries and so on. So check that if you like it. Thank you so much. You know, I love you and I'm blessed to have you in my life. And you cannot even imagine how much strength and inspiration you add to me on a daily basis, and how grateful I am to have you in my life. Thank you so much. Slava Ukraini.